solve this problem. If we don't take care of this, we're losing a generation.
Mr. Speaker, I'll never give up hope. I'll never stop fighting. I'll never stop looking.
Ginny Burton's third trip to state prison lasted 33 months. When she got out in 2013, she started volunteering with a nonprofit, the Post-Prison Education Program. In 2015, she went to work for Catholic Community Services, serving the homeless and addicted, the formerly incarcerated, and the mentally ill. She did it for almost 5 years, and she started going to school.
People are walking around on our streets with a lack of self-worth, a lack of self-acceptance, and it's not because people aren't giving them enough. It's because they've lost the ability to participate in society.
Ginny sees the same things you and I see, but she has the history to understand the how and the why, and the guts to tell a hard truth.
We're just going to support them to death. We're going to love them to death. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening. Seattle is dying. I've been here for 20 years. I've been here for 20 years, and it has never been like this.
Some people say it's all about housing. If we can just build enough housing to get them inside, everything's going to be okay.
Everything's going to be okay because nobody's going to be able to see anything, because it's going to happen behind those walls.
What is?
Everything that we're experiencing on the streets.
What kind of things are you talking about?
I'm talking about assaults. I'm talking about sexual assaults. I'm talking about thefts. I'm talking about robberies. I'm talking about everything that you can imagine would be happening in sort of the devil's den of drugs. That's what's happening inside of a lot of these buildings.
In her 7 years working in social services, 7 years of the hundreds of people she worked with, maybe thousands, here's how many people she remembers getting well, getting clean. 2. She remembers exactly 2. Ginny Burton has found a new life, a life with purpose. She is currently a senior at the University of Washington.
I'm going to tell you something. If somebody would have told me 7 years ago that my life would look like it does today, I would have called them a liar.
She is on the all-academic team at the UW. She is a Martin Honor Scholar. She is the 2020 Washington State Truman Scholar. She is alive. She is strong. Truly, Ginny Burton's life story is like nothing you've ever heard before.
There's nothing fun about jail, okay? I just want to put that out there. Jail sucked. It was not fun being there. But what it did is it gave me a place where I was sheltered, I was fed, and it just kind of gave me a chance to think.
For 6 months, Thomas Wolfe got better. He fought hard to get his life back. He has been clean and sober for 26 months. He works now and fights to rebuild the things that the drugs tore down. Thomas Wolfe has looked at the drug epidemic in San Francisco from both sides.
But to just leave people alone and respect their civil liberties and give them a warm sleeping bag and a pillow and a tent and just say, hey, you're good, just stay right there doing your thing, that's not compassion. Compassion can mean many different things. The police showed me compassion by arresting me and putting me in jail because that allowed me to get clean and find my path to recovery. That's a form of compassion too.
He doesn't worry about stepping on toes. He doesn't care about angering politicians or offending social service workers. He wants to tell the truth.
It's all over. It's all over, and it's spreading, and it's spun out of control so fast that our politicians don't know what to do.
And so that's what he's doing.
There is a huge drug crisis on our streets. When I was homeless on the street, 9 out of every 10 people that I met that were homeless were struggling with addiction. 9 out of 10. But the bottom line is that here we are now. We've got 15,000 homeless people in San Francisco, okay? And if 90% of those folks are addicted to drugs or alcohol, that's a drug crisis.
He's in favor of breaking the cycle.
Get some of these people into services, that's part of the answer. And some of these people need to go to jail, that's part of the answer.
He's in favor of intervening in lives like these.
So everything that people are doing to offer these services and make them voluntary for folks, I understand there's that component of protecting their civil liberties, but when you're an addict using heroin or fentanyl, you're incapable of making certain choices that are rational for your own benefit.
It's been a long, dirty fight to get back on track. Thomas Wolfe knows it'll be another long, dirty fight to save his city and save lives that are currently left to waste away there. But he's not alone anymore. Thomas is back together with his wife and his 2 children. He says every day he works to earn their trust. Maybe with them behind him, he can help change the world.
What we're now seeing is more people asking the question, do you have a right to decline treatment when you have a serious drug addiction that's slowly killing you and hurting people around you?
Rob McKenna is the former Attorney General for the state of Washington. We talked to him about the concept of the place we've named Hope Haven.
That is a newer idea. The idea of using involuntary commitment to force someone into treatment is newer. And we're going to have a long discussion about the appropriate use of involuntary commitment for drug-addicted people. But it is a conversation which is finally happening.
Ginny Burton understands a hard truth that so many refuse to accept, and it is this. To expect people whose brains have been rewired by drugs to make rational decisions about their own well-being is its own form of insanity.
You're telling me that we don't have to wait for them
I don't think so.
to cycle all the way through this to hit rock bottom?
Well, this is the thing. They're in rock bottom. They're in rock bottom. There's no cycling through. It's not like something that starts at one point, makes it all the way around, and they're like, hey, you know what? I think I'm done now.
The advocates for this population generally will say you have to wait until that person is ready. But here's my counter message. We can't wait. They are putting way too much stress on this city, and the voters and the public know it.
The idea of Hope Haven appeals to former Judge Ed McKenna.
Really, I think that's a fantastic idea.
He says the place could be used as leverage to keep those who've committed drug crimes out of the prison system. It could work like this. Someone accused of a drug crime, stealing to get drugs or selling drugs, would face a choice.
Could you give them a choice? Here's the deal. You're looking at a year in jail. Or we have this thing that you can be a part of, and we can send you there. The choice is yours. Is that legal constitutionally to give that choice?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we already have drug courts where people are given the option of jail or court-supervised drug treatment.
We're going to give you a year here or 6 months here. Can you make that determination? Can you as a judge do that?
Yeah, absolutely. And prosecutors can too.
Once in, the first step would be the hardest step, detox. As mentioned before, this part would be, by necessity, high security.
There's something magical that happens when, that person that says, I can't do this, but you get him in there and you wrap him up in the services and you walk them through the horrible detox, the 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 days that they need. All of a sudden something happens. The light comes back on. It's like the shake of a little light, and they kind of look, it's like, whoa. You capture that, and then you go to phase 2.
How long would recovering addicts stay at Hope Haven? Ginny Burton and Thomas Wolfe say at least half a year.
And it could vary depending on the person's circumstances. However, in my opinion, I think that it would need to be a minimum of 6 months.
I did a 6-month inpatient program, and that's exactly what I needed.
Back when she was in the state prison for the 3rd time, Ginny Burton dreamed of a place like Hope Haven, a place that's not retaliatory, but restorative.
You then have a portion of your day that is spent in drug and alcohol treatment. You have a portion of your day that is spent in an educational program, whether it's getting your GED or furthering your education. You're engaging with a case manager or a counselor.
There are problems, of course. One would be money.
There is money here. There is a lot of money. And Eric, I believe that the citizens of the state of Washington would be willing if they knew their dollars were going to the right thing.
The other problem is courage. Seattle had the guts to decriminalize everything, and the results speak for themselves. But would the state of Washington have the guts to do something as bold as building Hope Haven? Would it have the guts to actually intervene in lives and cities that are reeling out of control? Time after time, crime after crime, Travis Berge came before the city of Seattle. 35 convictions in all, 47 arrests, and who knows how many interactions with cops that didn't lead to arrest. His was an uninterrupted 5-year rampage of unapologetic criminal behavior. Sometimes Travis Berge was funny.
Best friends. Sorry that I killed Seattle.
Sometimes he was disarmingly honest.
I use methamphetamines. Yeah. And I try to at least use it once a day. If I had a bunch of money, I would probably buy a bunch of drugs.
And sometimes, oftentimes, he used methamphetamine and got mean and raged against Seattle and the world.
What's up?
I broke out every window with that gas.
In keeping with Seattle's current philosophy, Travis was caught and set free over and over again. In 2015, he tried to rape a young homeless woman. He served just 2 months in jail, got probation, didn't meet any of his requirements.